We have 3 minutes before we're going to start our public comment session. So if everybody will be taking your seats, turn your cell phones on silent. Much appreciated. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Wow. Get out of here for early supper tonight. I'm going to get out early supper tonight. I know he's not going to be here. Yeah. I don't know about these two, though. I don't know. I know the traffic was pretty bad out there. He did make it.
We were just speculating.
Good to see you, sir.
Where are you from?
Okay, everybody, at 6 o'clock, we'll begin our public comment session. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Bizzle, Chairman of North Carolina Marine Fisheries Commission, and would like to welcome you to our public comment session, where you have a unique opportunity to, on the record, give comments in regards to the Marine Fisheries Commission management of the state's public trust estuarine and marine resources. I ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You will be reminded when you have approximately 30 seconds left. Please state if you represent any group. If you address the commission tonight, you will not be allowed to do so tomorrow morning. Remember, this is a time to share a concern or gather information, not to be confrontational. Okay, we're going to start off with Stuart Crichton, going on to Dallas Godwin.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hopefully all of you received either by email or by hard copy this evening what I'm going to share with you. I'm sure it's going to go longer than 3 minutes. Sorry, can't help it. But I'll try to pick and choose from what I wrote so that you guys can hear some of the important topics. For nearly 3 decades, North Carolina has managed its marine and estuarine resources under the auspices of the Fisheries Reform Act. It sets forth a series of policies and regulations that are overly cumbersome, inflexible, and inefficient. By design, changes needed to modify the base FMP take an average of 3 to 5 years to enact. And no matter what those changes need to be, a politically appointed MFC can undo those years of work on a whim. Because we are mandated to manage our fisheries resources through separate FMPs, too many problems slip through the cracks. Too many issues can be purposefully ignored. All the while, we continue to watch species after species fall into decline. A few examples follow. From the speckled trout FMP, it is noted that small mesh gill nets are very effective at removing 14-inch trout, with very few speckled trout discarded as bycatch. Because of this, the commercial industry claims that it is a clean, selective gear and that they should be given a greater share of the fishery because they will fish it more effectively than public anglers will. What isn't mentioned or considered in developing future management measures for speckled trout is the effectiveness that those same nets have when it comes to removing 14-inch, which are sublegal, striped bass and red drum. Rather than be allowed to recruit to their respective fisheries, these fish are discarded and left to serve as fodder for scavengers. In addition, the mullet fishery is closely tied to the speckled trout fishery, with each species being listed as the primary incidental catch for the other. If mullet fishermen catch trout in significant numbers and trout fishermen catch lots of mullet, then the two species should be co-managed to mitigate the bycatch losses that the coming restrictions in each amendment to each FMP will generate. In other words, gillnet restrictions in one fishery should be applied to both fisheries. When it comes to striped bass in North Carolina, we commonly hear it's all about flow. Clearly, it isn't, as good flow rates in the ASMA for the past 5 years have led to nothing but failed spawns. The real issues are a lack of big fish, the best spawners, which DMF stats show have been historically harvested in gill nets, an increasing problem from blue catfish through food competition and/or direct consumption of juvenile stripers. Thirdly, climatic changes that are altering spawning cycles or zooplankton availability or egg density or other factors that we probably haven't even investigated yet. The benefits of SAV habitats are undeniable. In fact, they are one of the most critical areas.
I had to call time on you.
Oh, geez.
Time flies when you're having fun.
All right, well, y'all got that, so
We got
please
your
read it.
comments.
It's
Thank you for
really
your
important.
comments. Dallas Godwin, followed by Donald Willis, and whoever is calling time over there, do it a little bit louder, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name's Dallas Goodwin. I live in Morehead City, originally from Cedar Island, and I had come to talk about one subject, but I'm going to change it and talk about mullet fishing. And I just learned from Bradley that the Cedar Island mullet fishing they do to raise money for the community cemetery there, that it's being limited to 50 pounds on a weekend when they have this tournament. And it's family fun. It's just a fundraiser. Like I say, he has receipts. It's not a commercial operation. And just wanted to speak on behalf of that, to see if that could be lifted for them to continue to have that tournament on their designated Saturday. So they could raise money for the cemetery. I've got kin folks in that cemetery. It's a very special place for a lot of people. So if y'all could give that consideration, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Donald Willis, followed by Tim Hergenrader.
I'm Donald Willis. I've made my money off the recreational fishery my whole adult life. The things I'd like to talk about tonight, number one, is the mullet. Everything that we basically a fin fish that we've got an FMP for eats mullet at some point in that mullet's life, be it speckled trout, red drum, all the major fin fish eat these mullet. We've got one shot to get this right. And if we don't get this right, it's going to affect all our fisheries in a bad way, in a very negative light, when they don't have a major food source that these fish eat. I know tomorrow you're voting the last time on this, but it's one more time to think about it. We've got to get this right, because if we don't, it's just not the failure of mullet, it's the failure of every game fish we've got. And on the second thing is the SAV. You know, having more habitat, having more grass is going to be a good thing. We need that. There's fish that, that need that. We need spots like that. We have very few of those left. And I highly hope that we can pass that. I know it's going to inconvenience some people, but we need that grass out there for several species we have. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Tim Hergenrader, followed by Monica Smith.
Good evening. I'm Tim Hergenrader. I'm a recreational angler and conservationist from Pamlico County. The citizens of North Carolina rely on you experts to manage our public trust fisheries resources. Of the 13 species designated as state-managed, the stock status is unknown for 6 of the 13, 46%, overfished with or without overfishing occurring for another 6 of the 13, for 46 additional percent, and unknown if overfished for 8%. Your record doesn't engender a lot of confidence. It is incumbent upon you to get spotted sea trout right. Spotted sea trout are already in trouble, and if you fail the specs, I think they'll be held to pay. There are already alarming trends with specs, including but not limited to age truncation, to wit, very few 7+ of the older females, declining recreational CPUE, and a burgeoning commercial harvest. Excuse me. The southern flounder are collapsed thanks to more than 2 decades of expert management, and true to form, the commercial anglers are fishing down the food chain. I support the spotted sea trout AC recommendations of a 16 to 20 inch size limit of 4 fish, with only one of the 4 over 24 inches for recreational anglers. For commercials, a closed season from January through March. I urge you to reject the DMF proposal for striped mullet. For synergy with the spec recommendations, close the commercial season also from January through March, using the proclamation authority of the DMF director if necessary, to mitigate bycatch mortality of specs. The commercial industry will only take a 12% hit. Their big months are October and November. Allowing the harvest of mature striped mullet for their roe on their way to their spawning grounds, in my opinion, is wrong-headed and illogical. Nevertheless, I believe the striped mullet plan is doomed to failure without immediate action in the form of creative, adaptive management. But paramount, don't fail the spotted sea trout too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Monica Smith, followed by Bert Owens.
I'm Monica Smith, and my family owns Miss Gina's Shrimp. I met with DMF staff in April after researching this topic extensively. I've read a lot of articles, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I understand the importance of SAV to all fisheries, including shrimping. So I have 5 points. 1, DMF could not use scientific data to support a reasonable expectation of SAV restoration after closing more areas. There is no science to support that areas in closed bottom are showing a rise in SAV, nor that closing additional areas will help. 77% of SAV is already in areas that are closed, and they continue to lose SAV. If shrimpers are killing the seagrass, then limiting the shrimpers would kill less grass, right? In 1995, there were over 1,000 shrimpers who made 23,000 trips. In 2022, 299 shrimpers made just over 3,000 trips. 20,000 less trips. So why does it continue to decline? Well, per Amendment 2, poor water quality, climate change, disease, and other natural disturbances. Why are we wasting time and resources to debate closing more areas than when the ones already closed are not getting any better? 2, there is no scientific data to support the use, size, or efficiency of buffers in this case. 3, some of the SAV on the maps presented hasn't been present in well over 20 years. 4, no economic impact study. I asked DMF staff if they thought that the shrimping industry would survive these closures. The response was, yeah, it'll survive because of large corporations and large trawlers, but the guys that you're shutting down will not. 5, if you don't know the significant cultural value and heritage that serves so many socioeconomic groups, including minorities by now, then you don't need to be here. So do the right thing. Take this issue to a vote and vote it down until there's further science. Leaving this issue on the table to be revisited, and it will only deepen the lack of trust, faith, and respect that commercial fishermen have for DMF and this commission. They're tired of fighting to go to work and they're tired of coming to meetings. They feel like it doesn't matter. They're tired of presentations that fail to mention any science that doesn't fit an agenda, and they're tired of regulations to put them out of work that serve no actual benefit. I am grateful for the time and effort that has been put into this, that DMF and Director Rawls met with us in April. Grateful that so many people spoke up against this at AC meetings. But I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with the lies, the information that has been omitted, and that this could have been passed in February before I really understood the big picture.
30 seconds.
I'm frustrated at how commercial and recreational fishermen are pitted against one another when they only want the same thing, to fish. I'm frustrated that my husband, the primary breadwinner of our family, is sitting in the audience instead of where he should be, shrimping. So I'm frustrated with the knowledge that we'll be back here, maybe next year, maybe two, until inshore trawling is eliminated. I was told at a DMF meeting that DMF was not out to get shrimpers. So here's your
Time.
chance. Prove it.
Thank you. Thank you. Bert Owens, followed by Kyle Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see y'all. One thing I like about these meetings, you hadn't get all dressed up like you're going to Walmart or somewhere. I want to say something about spotted sea trout also. I understand they had some good meetings in New Bern the other week and came out with some recommendations which y'all surely going to be considering in your near-term meetings. It is very important to get it right. I want to point out a parallel between them and southern flounder. Southern flounder was mentioned here many times that it's important to take 50% from each side, make even cuts with each side. The recommendation for spotted sea trout that's come out so far has, I believe it's 27% reduction for the commercial side and 33% reduction for the recreational side. Now, that is not a 6% difference. That's a 22% difference. So every time the commercial side will cut 100 fish, the recreational side will be cut 122. You have plenty of time to get that right. Follow the same pattern you did with southern flounder and make it equal for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Kyle Brown. We can pass.
We all good?
All good.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Brown. I'm here to talk about a small community, less than 300 people. It's a fishing community, a community built on guiding and fishing. I am a hunting guide and a fishing guide myself. Several of my friends and I got together and we wanted to do something for our community to help the cost of help keep up the local cemetery and churches. I'm not a very good reader at this. I'm not a very good speaker. But anyway, to keep up our local cemetery and churches, at first we would randomly just go mullet fishing and sell them to the fish house and tell them to donate it all to the church and cemetery fund. And trying to keep up the heritage of our grandfathers and fathers before us. Because of the community is made up of commercial fishermen and widows of commercial fishermen, it is great cost out of their pockets to help keep the maintenance done on this churches and cemeteries of our community. Starting out with 7 boats, donating all their catch, their fun, their time. Now we've grown to 20 boats or so. Everybody donates their time, effort to go do this, to have fun and fellowship for everyone. What we know best is fishing, is the reason why we do this. Fishing and helping everyone. We ask for y'all's help in this situation. If any rules come up in effect, we ask, please help us get one day, 4 hours. This day to mullet fish so we can help maintain our community cemeteries and our church. Our community, it is family
30 seconds.
30 seconds left. Keep on going.
and this opportunity for us. Thank you all.
Thank you for your comments. Has everyone had a chance to address the commission tonight that cares to? One more, okay, come on up here. Please state your name and if you represent any group.
My name's Caden Daniels. I weren't planning to speak tonight, but I've been to the last few of these, so I think I will. I just want every one of you up here to think about what's morally right and what this country was founded on. I'm 30 years old, or I'm not quite 30 years old, and I bet there ain't 20 of me in this state that's full-time commercial fisherman trying to make it. As of right now, if there's not one more thing closed, this industry won't be here in 30 years from today. It's give everything that can be given. There was a fella come up here a minute ago, said it weren't fair for recreational, the percentage from recreational to commercial weren't fair. Well, what he does for fun puts food in my little girl's mouth. I don't think you're talking about the same thing there. I just want every one of you to think about what this country was on and do what's morally right, because you know what is.
Thank you, sir. Is that the last one? Anybody else? You coming up? Okay. Hey, please state your name and if you represent any group.
Brent Gaskell, live in Harkers Island. Grew up in commercial fishing family. Try to do what I can of it myself now. But I travel all over the world chasing marlins now, but I've never gone anywhere and seen like the drama it is between marine fisheries, the recreational fishermen, and just it's like everybody's out to get everybody, trying to close the commercial fishing down. And of all the other countries I've gone fishing to, I've never seen people fight like we're fighting here, and we're supposed to be like the best place in the world to be is the U.S. And it's the commercial fishing, like trying to close all the salve and with the grass and stuff. I mean, none of us are shrimping where the grass is. And if any of you have been shrimping and knew that, you would, as soon as you saw this come in effect to try to close those areas, you would say, well, this is stupid because they're not going to be shrimping there because they can't shrimp there. And then when the mullets, and there's loads of mullets, I mean, it's unbelievable to me that all this is trying to happen in the U.S. And I can go in a country that they don't have nothing, but yet they're not fighting against each other. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I just hope you all can make the right decision, but the shrimpers ain't the problem, and the people with the money are the problem, and that sure as hell ain't the shrimpers. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Okay.
Sorry about it. It takes me a little longer nowadays.
Thank you.
Brent Fulcher, North Carolina Fisheries Association, business owner in Carteret and Craven counties. Come before you, Chairman Bizzle, many times. Want to kind of, I missed the early part of the meeting, sorry about that, but come to my attention that y'all made a document decision for a 3-day closure in the fall and the roe mullet season, but in the document, it's actually 3.5 days. So I don't know how y'all can put that out to public comment and then come with something that in the management book. I would hope that you would stay with the 3 days if that's what the intent is. Anything more than that, I think is going to create a challenge from the industry, number one. Number two, I worked along with the 3 representatives that were representing the commercial fishing industry in SSAV original look back a few years back. At that time, we worked really closely with the industry in all these areas to try and figure out all the bottom that wasn't being worked, so it could be potentially closed, and to see if there was any benefit of closing it. And I want to know from the division or whoever what's been quantified to see what those closures have gained the resource, the environment, because now you're talking about closing more. You've heard all these guys talk. You've heard them at public comment talk. I've been there. That you're going to take bottom from them that they're working. The bottom that they're not working, it's not being worked anyway. It's essentially closed because anywhere there's any amount of grass, they can't drag. And I would hope that y'all would see that the last measures that we worked very hardly with under the shrimp management plan and put in place did what needed to happen. We did close a place that needed to be open. A lot of people got displaced out of Bogue Sound last year in Banks Channel. There was a lot of shrimp, a lot of white shrimp that those guys couldn't access. So those guys out of Salter Path, Beaufort area, Morehead City that typically will work that area when there were shrimp, and it's typically cyclical. Some years you don't have them there, but it was just a banner year for those shrimp being in that area, and it'll probably happen again because we're harvesting a fair amount of shrimp out of the ocean. So I would like that for all of y'all to think very, very closely about closing any more bottom, especially with not anything
30
being
seconds.
quantified. So appreciate your time. I know all of y'all work very hard, but I think you heard from a man that's fished all over the country just a minute ago ahead of me. He actually brings me some product and sells me. But this is the only country in the damn world that a commercial fisherman look like as a criminal when all he's doing is a food production for the rest of this country and the world, and it's really a damn sad sight when that happens. And part of this commission even looks at them that way, and it really just turns my damn stomach.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, there being nobody else, the public comment session is closed. We will see everybody back here at 9 in the morning. Thank you.